So we have a gentle flow, but mainly focusing on opening the hips. So tight hips can come very quick due to, lots of strenuous activity and not much stretching out, or, kind of day-to-day sitting at a desk working hard can tighten them up. So we're going to do some hip opening exercises within the flow to make you feel, you can move, wiggle around, get everything nice and open. So we're going to start off in a cross-legged position. And first of all, just take a little note of which way your legs are crossed. So maybe left over right, or maybe right is over left. And we're going to swap it over as we go on. So just stick with what you got for now, but notice which way you are. And then palms of the hands are going to face up. And keeping them here, we're just going to find a couple of breaths. So grow nice and tall through the spine. Just looking down to the ground in front of you. Letting the shoulders drop down. And if it feels okay to do so, just gently close the eyes. And just take a little quiet moment to pause. Tune in to all the sounds around you. Maybe there's some distant noise. You can't quite hear what's happening, but you can just hear a little something in the background. Maybe you've got music playing. Cars going past the window, the door, wherever you are. Or maybe you're fortunate to hear the ocean waves. That would be nice. We're just having a mindful minute, just a minute here, simply tuning into the sounds, whether it's my voice, maybe the sounds of your breath, your inhale, your exhale. And then just start to deepen your breath as you roll your way back up that spine. As you probably will kind of slouched over a little bit. That's perfectly normal. And then here, come to lift the chin away from the chest and blink those eyes open. Nice. Okay, turn the palms of the hands over, and here we're going to start with a circle. So our first little hip opener here is a circle of the chest, the upper body, down and around, bringing the chest as low as you can, and then really dropping back as far as you can. Take this slow. We're not rushing anything. We've got time. I always think, I very much am this person, so I'm not trying to talk to you like I'm on a pedestal or anything. it's like, get it done. Yeah, I want to feel better, but let's do it quickly. And it's like, actually, it doesn't work like that. And part of my learning very much is, okay, I'm committing 40 minutes. And those 40 minutes, I'm going to do it properly. I'm going to do it well. I'm going to take my time. Rather than this kind of rush, but never really getting the practice. So just, you blocked out the time. We're here. Let's be present for all of it. If the mind starts wondering about what's for tea, I need to just send that email. I wonder what so-and-so's up to. Bring it back to this moment here. Let's go the other way. So there's nothing to be ashamed of when the mind wanders. It's not that you're no good at practicing mindfulness. It's because that's what a mind is meant to do. It's meant to think. But what we can do is train our control over the mind to say, actually, no, you don't need to think right now. What you're going to do is you're going to just focus here. The thinking can come later. We'll allow it some time later. That's my summary of mindfulness. Oh, good. Now, we're going to do 2 more circles. And on the last one, we're going to pause. I'm going to pause forwards, and I'm going to slide my hands along the floor. I'm going to stretch here. So if that's not too comfortable for you, maybe you're in a little bit tighter body, the hips are a bit tighter, which, if you're doing a hip opening class, maybe they are. Hands to a block, and then we're just going to come as far as feels good for you. Now here in your seated fold, you're going to find the breath, and we're going to breathe nice and deep into the back body, knowing that when we are able to slow down, when the breath becomes deeper, when there's more control in that breath, the body is able to open up. If we're in that mentality of, let's get this done, short and quick, you're not going to get the results you're after. It takes time. Good. Now you're going to slide your way back up. I'm going to place my hands behind me. Again, notice the cross of the legs. Which one over which one? Place the hands behind you so the fingertips are pointing towards you. A little lean. And then here, soles of the feet are going to come down. I want you to lift the chest. And then you're going to drop your knees all the way over to one side, trying to get the one knee inside of the opposite leg. So don't be crossing here. Keep it open. So ideally, it's just into the sole of that foot. Good. Then we're going to swap. Take it over to the opposite side. And here we're really working the internal and external rotation of the hip. So here on my left side, I'm getting my internal rotation. And here on the right side, I'm getting that external. Keeping the body square. So there's tendency I'll be lifting like this. Nope, plug back, 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 back. And the hand goes back. Now we're going to do a swish from side to side. So we come up and over. and up and over. And we keep moving. Remember, there's space for the knee to go down. It might not get the whole way, that's all right. But just as long as there's the space for it if it was to. And then we've got that good space in the hips. So it's all about finding what works in your body, working with your anatomy. Wonderful. Okay, one more to each side. Good, and then from here, we're going to come back and we're going to cross our legs the other way. Now, if you've forgotten, just go to cross your legs. That will be the way you always do it, and then swap it over. So here, we find that fold once again. It's going to feel a lot different because it's our non-dominant side we're crossing. Remember, hand can be to a block. You can just be here. The head's going to drop heavy. All good. Just settle again. Maybe you want to close the eyes. Nice, one more breath. Good, and then slowly we're going to roll our way up. Okay, so similar to the windshield wiper, we're going to add a little bit more depth into that. So I want you to just open that left leg and you're going to pivot round here so that the knee comes down onto the mat. Now we want to find 90 degrees in our front knee and 90 degrees in the back knee. So that will mean just opening a little bit here so the heel is not all the way in. Find 90 degrees, and the same with that front one. Then once we've got that 90, so you notice this is not completely touching, my left hip is up. That's because it's where it's tight. So what I'm working on doing is sinking into that. Now this is a really tight area, so we're not going to have much movement, but it's good for you to know where you're at. So we're not going to stay here too long. It's more kind of an assessment tool if you want. That's a primary school teacher in me. We assess it, then we know where the gaps are that we can plug and we can work our way to it. So seeing where we're at. There's still a little bit of a lift. That's all good. We're going to work on that internal rotation here. And then we're going to try over to the opposite side. So I'm going to just scoop it up, change the position of the legs to find it on the opposite side. And here, 90, 90. And then once again, I'm not completely down. I've got a lift here. I'm wanting to lean over towards the left, whereas I need to be plugging my way down here. So it's just noticing, seeing what we're working with, and where we're going to get to. Nice. Okay. From here, we're going to bring the soles of the feet together, and the knees are going to go out wide. Place the hands onto the tops of the feet, elbows into the knees, or potentially you want to slide your arms, your hands underneath the legs, shuffle your way back, and then we're going to drop the head down. So in kids yoga, this is called turtle pose, and these are your flippers, and we're just hiding in our little turtle shell, which I think is perfect description of this pose. So just wherever you're at, head hangs heavy, and breathe. One more breath. Good, and then we're going to slide our way back out, come to find our seat. Nice. Now your left leg's going to extend and draw the sole of the right foot inside that left leg. Now first of all, I'm going to face towards my bent knee. I'm going to slide my left hand down the inside of that leg and reach up and over with the top arm. So here I'm lifting out the hip, side body stretch, also getting an inner thigh stretch. Reach it over. Now it might be that you're a little higher up. That's all good. As long as you're feeling it, you do you. But the aim, we want to keep the chest open. We're looking up towards the ceiling. Nice. Now bring your top arm to pivot you back through to center, and then twist this time to face the outstretched leg, and just point your toes and then flex your toes. And point and flex. And point and flex. Good. Now stay here. And we're going to keep tall through the spine. I'm just going to start to crawl my hands alongside the leg and see where I get to. Maybe I can then allow the head to drop, and that added little bit of gravity to help deepen this stretch for you. Nice, and then we're going to roll up. Come to find seated, okay? Crossing the legs back and then straightening the right leg. Draw the left foot in towards the chest and touch the inner thigh. Then I'm going to turn, look towards my bent knee, slide the hand inside the leg, twisting, keeping a twist of that chest. So I'm never here, I'm here. And then I'm going to reach up and over. One more breath. Good. Take it all the way up. Then twist. Look to your outstretched leg and then point that toe and flex the foot. Point the toe, flex the foot. Point the toe, flex the foot. One more here. Point the toe, flex the foot. Good. And then I'm going to lead with the chest. So never like this. I'm going to lead with the chest and then crawl the fingers forwards just to a point that feels okay for you. And if you're working with any injuries or anything, just be really super mindful that we're not pushing against that healing process. Just breathe nice and gentle. Good, and then chin to chest, roll your way up. Really nice. Okay, we're going to come to an all fours position. So rolling over onto the knees, spread the fingers wide, and then from here, make sure the tops of the feet are pushed down, and then you're going to circle the hips. So as we circle, I want you to think about really pushing them back towards the heels. As you come forwards, this place here, there's a real push of the hips into the mat. You take it to the side, back, side, and then forwards. If you're very familiar here and you know, you can add a little more. You can find cat-cow into the circle, get everything kind of really zhuzhing around. Lovely. And then we're going to reverse the circle. Take it around the opposite way. Good. And then from here, come back through to your tabletop. Take your knees as wide as your mat and bring your toes to touch. Now, either with a cushion underneath you here or without, just come back into a wide leg child's pose and allow the forehead to come down onto the mat, or if it doesn't reach the mat, onto a block. And just this sensation of pushing the hips backwards onto those heels. And I want you to breathe into the belly. So the belly is here. It's free now to expand because the legs are wide. So you inhale fully into the belly. And exhale to release. One more breath. Good. Now we're going to slowly come to roll up. So come all the way back onto your hands and knees, drawing those knees back into hip distance. Lovely. Now circling the knee, I want you to draw the left leg back, keep a bend of the knee here. And then we're going to open that hip as wide as we can. The knee draws the biggest circle possible. So we sweep round, open, down, round, open, down. Now as we do this, there'll be a tendency for you to drop over to the right side. See if you can keep yourself centered, bring it back in. Ensure that you're kind of using everything you've got to find that really solid foundation. So hands, fingers spread wide, top of the foot pushes down onto the mat. One more. And lower down. And take it all the way to the opposite side after a little stretch in between there in our child's pose. And then come back forwards. So here, bend that knee, and then we take it round. Good. Nice. Let's do 3, 2, and one more. Lovely. Right. We're going to come into what's called a frog stretch. And the frog stretch is quite a deep stretch. So by all means, you just take this at your own pace. But what I will say is that you want to have some cushioning under the knees. Now the knees are going to go wider than your yoga mat. So either spin it round, or maybe you're on carpet and there's some cushioning there anyway. I'm going to stay this side. I'm just going to grin and bear it on the floor so you can see from the side what I'll be doing to get into this pose. So the first thing is to take those knees wide, wider than the hips. And then your feet are going to be wider than your knees. So turn your toes out to the side and your heels are going to come in. So here there's a shift. I'm on the side of the knee. My knees are pointing out to the side. And I'm going to first of all come down onto my forearms. Then from here, I'm going to guide the hips back. Now it might be that this is actually enough. You're getting a very, very deep stretch on the inner thigh here, and those hips are opening. Maybe you can guide the hips back. The number one important rule though is the feet are wider than the knees. If they're in, it's all right, you're still getting a stretch, but it's not the one that we're after. So here, feet wider, pushing the hips back. Now, you might over time, if you're really open, you might be able to get completely flat down here. It's not a race, it's not, anything to achieve to be, we want the body to be open, yes, but we don't need to be to the extreme. We just want it to have a functional body, Then showing off doing a super deep splits or really opening this frog pose. Each body is its own beautiful thing. But if we're feeling tight in the hips, this is going to help get there, but there's no need to be certainly flat down here. So spend one more breath. And then we're going to be really mindful how we come out. I'm going to walk my hands in a little bit. I'm going to shift the weight forwards, bring the toes in, and then I'm going to bring my knees in. And then from here, I want you to sit back into your child's pose. And there's probably a little bit more space here in child's pose now for you to just fold into and soften and breathe. Good. Lovely. Okay, we're going to have a little bit of a stretch out through the hamstrings now in our downward facing dog. So coming forward, tuck the toes under, and then begin to lengthen those legs. Start to pedal out left and right. So as you're probably fully aware, the body works as one. It's a whole unit. If one area is tight, it's likely there's been a knock-on effect and other areas of the body have overcompensated. Maybe they've ended up tight or too open. So when we work towards opening one part of the body, also want to work the rest of it too. So finding the length of the back of the legs, opening up and releasing tension in the glutes is super important. Having a strong core. Nice. Let's do a couple more little pedals here. Good. And then we're going to drop down onto the knees and make our way onto our back. So just a little inversion there. I feel a practice isn't right without a down dog, is it? You've got to get one in there. So come all the way down onto your back. Just quickly remove this. Okay, down we go. And then first of all, your feet are going to be wide, if not wider than your yoga mat. I'm going to find a nice internal rotation of the hips by drawing the knees in towards each other. The outside edges of your feet are now going to flip up. So it's a good counter pose to that frog stretch. So whereas the frog stretch, we're kind of opening the hips. This is what we're finding internal rotation. It's all in balance. You want the two to work just as well. deep breaths. One more. Good. Draw them back in through center, and then your feet come back to a hip distance. Lovely. Well, let's squeeze the knees in towards the chest here. Just hug the knees in. If you want to, your nose can come all the way up. We're going to have a little rock side to side. And then we're going to find a happy baby. So you're going to grab onto the outside edges of your feet, drawing the knees down and wide, and really trying to get all the pressure through the sides of the feet to pull the legs as close to the earth as possible. Now, if you want to, you can change the hands so they go into the inside of the feet, and this time you can extend the legs. So we're getting a bit more of a hamstring stretch at the same time, really opening those hips. Maybe you rock, you find stillness. Good. And then from here, we're going to draw the soles of the feet together and then allow the knees to go out wide. We'll find our Supine Badikanasana. Bring your hands to your stomach, close the eyes. Nice deep breath. And we're going to stay here for our Shavasana, but if you would like to, you can extend the legs. But this one's just a little bit more of a hip opener to close the practice. So nice and gentle with the breath. No forcefully long inhales and exhales. Just allow it to ebb and flow. Notice softening through all the muscles in your face. So your cheeks and your forehead. Teeth are just slightly apart. The tongues drop down from the roof of the mouth. And the jaw is at ease. There's no clenching here. And the shoulders are firmly held, planted, grounded onto the mat. And just really feel into that point of contact where the elbows rest on the floor. The warmth of your hands on your stomach. There's that sensation of the opening of the hips here. And the knees bending. And the feet, soles of the feet pressing together. There's a little warmth there. And then you're completely at ease. you're completely relaxed. Be happy here in this moment, not wanting to rush to the next. Lovely. Now one at a time, extend the legs. Reach the arms up alongside the ears, full body stretch. Maybe a little yawn. If it comes, it comes. Nice. Okay, bend the knees in towards the chest, roll over onto one side, any side, and allow the top arm just to drape in front of the body. And then push into that hand that's resting in front of you, bringing yourself up to find your seat. And here, grounding the hands onto the knees. Take a full deep inhale through the nose and exhale out the mouth. Wonderful. Thank you so much for taking the time to practice with me. I hope that felt good. I hope that felt nourishing and that you were able to slow down for that practice. I will be back tomorrow with a grounding flow, a shorter sequence, a nice grounding flow to get you back into the body. Just a nice way to start the week. Until then, have a wonderful rest of your day, whatever you're up to, and I will see you tomorrow. Namaste.